all of you. Well, when Dr. Bharat said that, yeah, there is pressure, or rather there is a lot of hype that has been given. The second panelist said that, see, I have been pressured to perform. I feel that I am under a different kind of pressure right now. Can you tell what it is? How do I keep you awake? No offense to you, both of you, at all, on a lighter note, because there is this research that says, in psychology, of course, I'm sure the person who introduced me has already said that I have, quote unquote, an MA in psychology. So with that, a little bit of that, let me just start off by saying, there is this research which says that it is so very difficult to keep a child listening to you for more than 10, 15 minutes. I think the first 10 minutes were already taken up by Dr. Bharat. So both of us, we are in a hanging position to know how much of that has been absorbed, and I don't think there will be many who might absorb what I'm going to say, so I'll have to try double hard. So the young audience out here, today is the National Youth Day. You're all beckoned here to hear something inspiring from us, and you might have been sitting like this for quite many talks, quite many people who might have spoken to you, you might have listened to a lot of them. And so today is yet another dosage of inspiration that we're going to give you. And I'm sure that this sweaty, perspiring winter that we call here in Mangaluru, you might all be thinking about switching places. But yes, I do agree that the temperature here inside this hall is low enough. And yes, of course, being seniors, the three of us, the four of us, we will be able to give you something much more than switching places. So let us try to reveal you to yourself. And don't tell me later that you have never been warned. So let me just start off by saying that it's not very long ago when I was sitting on the other side of the desk amongst people like you, listening in awe to a lot of people, notable speakers, speaking about a lot of things. And never did I even dream that I would be switching places, or I would be sitting among, the people whom I am with right now. So I should say that I'm really honored, privileged, humbled, yes, of course. And how did I reach here? Well, it is true that Preetham did ask me to give a story of my journey, what I would like to tell you, what my message to you is. It could be quite contradictory in so many different ways because, I have always been quite aggressive in what I do and quite a rebel among others. I mean, quite distinct in the way of thought. So I do not know if I would match up with the expectations of the moderator and the rest of the speakers, but I'll try my best. The only thing that connected me, or the only thing that was passionate enough as to why I think that I reached here, are books. Different kinds of genres. Anything that comes my way, I used to read. And I think little do our children, all of you out there, would you have the hobby or you look at books? So can I get a raised hand as to how many of you have passion? I forget about passion here. Into the habit, or do you ever read books? I'm not talking about mobile phones, not scrolling. I'm talking about literally, books. And that is exactly why I'm the only person here with, paper, pen, those tools, those weapons which I as a teacher should be using. And I'm sure that I will carry this till to my grave. So how many of you, just a couple, just very few arms shooting up. Yeah, I'm at least happy to see that much. So this is what I did, This is exactly what I have been doing. The only deep connect that I had was with books. Any kind of genre that came my way. Fiction, non-fiction, academic. Well, academic was a little lesser, of course, during those days, even now. But the choices that we had then were much lesser than the choices that you have now. When it comes to choices, Well, I would say that with respect to gender, with respect to marks, there were a lot of restrictions. I think that is there even today. But I can say that when I see gender, the very institute that I stand here stands testimony to the fact that we see a lot of girls hostel coming up in our campus, which is indeed a new thing for us. At least I have been here for the past 10 to 11 years. So I know that girls getting into engineering colleges, into mechanical department is something that is very, very surprising. I'm sure Kavan will vouch for me in that respect. Now this was why I felt that during my schooling that I had to break one stereotype. It was always about two things. You want to get into engineering, do you want to get into medicine? I'm sure all of you must have faced that question. All of you, yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. Did anybody ask you what your real choice is?
Yes.
Good to know that. But I do hear a lot of people telling me, this was never my decision. I just got into it. I was never sure what I wanted to, I just jumped into it. Soon after 10th standard, they start entrance coaching exams from your 6th standard onwards. IIT JEE coaching. They start that. I stand in front of a lot of proofs which tell me that. So that is a time when you are not in a position to mold yourself to believe that, no, this is what I want. No, you are not in a position to make a choice. But the one thing is what I did was, see, this happened 30 years ago. One thing that I did was to break that stereotype. I decided, in spite of having 90% plus marks in science and mathematics, I thought, no, I will not take science. Let me try commerce instead. Let me show to myself and the rest of the world that, yeah, people do achieve something in commerce. What am I going to achieve? Let me just show that. So let me put myself into test. And I studied abroad. So for me, it was, of course, an experiment. And for my family, I wouldn't say that my parents were scared. They just felt that, okay, anyway, she's a rebel. She gets her way. And she's not going to listen to us. So beat her way. Not many parents think like that. Well, I was blessed with somebody like that. Now, that was when I started searching for myself. What is it that I actually wanted? So this is a time that I was not even aware that I would end up in a profession like this. So I do not know if teaching found me or I found, or was it vice versa, I found this particular thing called academia or academics or teaching. Was I pulled towards it? But I can only tell you one thing, that it was only books that drove me towards it. Because I felt that this was one thing that would keep me or help me to sustain my hobby or my pastime or my love or my passion for reading. So that's it. That was one thing that took me there. Now, looking back, now this happens to be one spark to this day that I feel that there are a lot of subjects out there, and there are so many different ways of studying and learning and experiences, and all of this amounts to new kinds of learning. One thing that all of us throughout our life should have is, what I'm sure both our panelists have already said, is a student inquisitiveness. To learn, to unlearn, and to relearn. We should be ready to break all those stereotypes, come out of it, and do something new. New for yourself, but be passionate about it. A huge job, in case you are not passionate, would sound or feel very, very heavy to you. It would be burdenous. But if you really love it, anything can be done. Nothing is impossible. So this is one thing that I always vouched for. I always felt that this is how I should go. And that was how, when I talk about my scholastic achievements, there's quite a list. I did my schooling, as I said, I was abroad. I was born and brought up in Abu Dhabi, in the Gulf. I studied till my 12th there. And I was always, as I said, the black sheep of my family, always trying to do things out of the ordinary. And not the usual, at least the girls of then, the dainty, the damsels, or the girls of the yesteryears who would just sit within the four walls of their apartment and think about how to look beautiful. No, it was something different. I used to always run around, do march past, do drills. This is what I always used to like. But yeah, alas, I never got into the sports field. That's another thing. I think it was a love for books that dominated my love for sports. But that was then when I realized, okay, I started off, I came back to India, I came back to Kerala, did the rest of my studies, my graduation, and then I married very quickly. I do not know why. We are three girls in the family, so my parents must have felt, no, this girl needs to get married quickly, otherwise they might, not get a hold of her, perhaps. So it was after that that I did the rest of my education. So everything comes after that. My MCom, my MBA, and then I'm a different doctor than from both of them. I'm quite different because I do not have, I'm not an MBBS doctor or a dentist for that matter, but yes, my love was always for marketing. It was always for branding. And that is where my research and my love lies. My passion had always been in branding research, and that is what my doctorate is all about. So I took a PhD soon after my MBA and my MCom, and yes, before that I felt that yes, during my school days, my teachers always used to give me this responsibility of teaching. That was when I actually felt that yes, teaching could be my way. And then that was when I again went ahead and did a B.Ed, and then my career started. I jumped from high schools to higher secondary schools, to government-aided colleges, to state universities, to central universities, and now I'm here in an institute of national importance, which is NITK Karnataka Surathkal. And the journey has been with a lot of ups and downs. The kind of people that you meet, but I would say my love was always for the different children that I would face every single day. The affection that I hold for them is beyond words. And I see that with the same kind of affection that I see you also, though you belong to a different place. For me, all of them are same. And when I look at these people, I feel that this is one message which I would love to give you. You know what? Youth is life in the making. These are words which are said by Sadhguru. And when he says about youthfulness, quote unquote, this entails a willingness to learn something new, to look inside yourself, and also to create your life the way that you want. This is something that you should always hold inside yourself. And when we talk about rat races, when we talk about competitions, I know that you might be extremely pressured to be the best. My answer to all this is, in spite of being a professor here, who might be grading, who might be looking at sheets, answer sheets and valuations, and putting a student at the top of the class and another one at the bottom of the class, my only advice to all my children would only be this: it's okay to fail. It doesn't matter, yeah. But do not lose your focus. You just have to keep driving yourself forward. There is something which we call as an inner strength. You should always keep that spark alive. If you're focused, if you know what you want, there will be nobody in this world who can stop you. And when you keep thinking about it, it will automatically drive you forward. And by that, what I mean is, you have to do a lot of soul searching. You have to look into yourself. What is it that I really want? Do I really have to become an engineer? Do I really have to be a doctor? And see, when you want to do something, do you really have to be, confused? It's okay to be confused. Now, you should get away with these cliche headings of the younger generation of today are completely confused. No, I don't believe that. With the Google era that we are in, when you have a lot of choices in front of you, I do agree that when you have a lot of choices in front of you, the solution could be very, very difficult to find. Because you have too many choices. there's a clutter there. So you have to, take the best one out there. So what you need to do is look into yourself. What is it that I really want? And once you find the answer to that, then you move forward. And I would like to talk about this in a very generalized way, not in a particular kind of profession, because everybody out there, every one of you are so unique, so different, and so beautiful out there. And so you should be knowing what should I do that should be unique for me, that I should be distinct, that I should differentiate myself from the rest of them. But it should not be a competition. This is an era, it could be pretty hard for all of us. This era, when I'm talking about youngsters, it could be a pretty hard time for you. And when I talk about your classes, I told you that I am under pressure to keep you awake. And this could be the same thing that could be happening to you when you go to an 8 o'clock morning class with drooping eyelids in front of your instructor, where she or he might be looking at you threateningly. And you might have to, stick some sticks onto your eyelids to keep them open. Apart from that, youthfulness is a time of joy. It's a time of happiness. It's a time of a lot of beautiful things that can happen. You know what? When you were young, when I was young, I would always dream of becoming big. Some of you might be thinking like that. Oh, I wish I would just grow up. Then I would have a lot of money. I would have responsibilities. I could go wherever I want. But once you grow up, you would regret it. Let me tell you that. So make the most of the time that you have right now. Make the most of every single second that you have right now. Every single minute of your life is so valuable. So that is what you need to do. And this is the time for your bubbling energy. You know what Swami Vivekananda said? The same thing. This is the time when you have muscles of iron and nerves of steel. Make the fullest of it. And apart from this, yes, this is also the time that there would be a lot of mother squabbles. Mothers asking you to wake up in the morning, go to school, go to college. These are beautiful words which you'll never get to hear once you actually grow up. So enjoy it while it lasts. And then, the opportunities that are open up to you right now are so humongous that were not open to us before. But as I said, even though there are a lot of opportunities in front of you, the solution that you might have could be so much, much lesser. Or rather, it could be quite limited. And for that, you need to understand what you really want. And the wandering monk of the 19th century, yes, we already spoke about Swamiji, Swami Vivekananda. He was always talking about educating youth because that is what brings about a country's prosperity. And I think that my decision to follow this calling of mine is one step towards it. So I look at all of you as the people in the making to help you understand your calling and to follow your path. And I'm so very happy that I have followed a very noble profession so that I can come up and help you and guide you to do the same. Now, one message which I would like to tell you as a concluding part is stay clear of all these kinds of cliched notions that, see, I'm not sure, I'm confused. See, the generation of today is supposed to be very, very confident. Are you? It's a question. Stay away from all these kinds of clutter. What you need to do is, the first thing, look into yourself. Introspect. If this is what I want, this is what I do. Tell people around you that this is what I wish. This is what my passion is. This is where my passion lies. You should be able to understand, and you should be also able to make the others understand, be it your family, be it everybody else. And I truly believe that the story narration that I gave you right now will inspire one more person among the crowd today and also help you to find your path. Now, this is a narration, or this is a verse that I always hold very, very close to my heart, and I always find new meanings to this particular Sanskrit verse. And that is, Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha. Can you chant along with me? Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Thank you and all the best.